Welcome back to Doing Philosophy. We are engaging in another lecture on epistemology. Now we're going to begin looking at the theories, all right? The theories. And which really, we say theories, but we're talking about these philosophers' definition of knowledge. And as I mentioned before, you grew up or you went through the educational system and these ideas filtered into your unconscious already. So they may not seem very surprising, but they're still debated and discussed even today. I want to talk about Plato. First of all, look in front of you. What we have on one side are the rationalists, on the other side are the empiricists. And today I would like to look at Plato. Right? Plato was a student of Socrates, the father of philosophy, and really Plato actually present in the most part Socrates' theory. And then later he diverges and then produces his own theory. So in the Republic, Plato presents the theory of forms and reality, but he also talks about his theory of knowledge there as well. And then when we studied in metaphysics his theory of reality, we had the idea that Plato had a theory of gradation of reality. Gradationality. Some things are more real than others. The abstract forms of the mango tree is more real than the actual physical form, the sensible object, right? And if you took a picture of the mango tree, that picture was less real than the actual mango tree itself. So the blueprint, the design that was used, nature used to produce that tree is more real. In Plato's view of epistemology, knowledge occurs in a very seamless way. He says, if your mind is focusing on the images of something, let's use a physical example. Let's look at a Cadillac, a physical example. If you see Cadillac, you're a young person, seeing a Cadillac only on television, only in magazine, you have images of this vehicle and you think it's a great car, right? Plato says if you're only seeing images of the car, only your imagination is active. His theory is like that. If you're observing things in this world, images only, your imagination is active. Whatever you claim to be true is based on your imagining, and the truth value is less than. However, if you go with your parent to a dealership or you happen to come across a Cadillac on the streets, at that moment, your mind have a heightened, stronger experience of it that's called perceiving, that your mind is more engaging. It's like understanding the car for real. Before you imagine what it is, now you're engaging it for real. And then Plato says, if you want to know more about the car, no amount of experience can get you deeper understanding unless you know its design. And that's where the concrete comes from. That's the blueprint that's used by the manufacturer. That would be the a priori idea. So prior to the manufacture of the vehicle that's in the dealership where you just entered, the manufacturer had a blueprint that was used. That's a physical example of the concrete form. But then to know that that's the Cadillac, Plato requires that when you're in the concrete form, you must look at Cadillacs, maybe different models of Cadillacs, Mercedes, BMWs, and different kind of cars. So once you have a good sense of the different kind of blueprints, then you can know how to distinguish the Cadillac from the Mercedes and the BMW, right? And this mental activity is in virtue of having direct experience of higher forms of reality. His version of knowledge is to say that knowledge occurs as the mind gets closer and closer to that which is ultimately real. If you only have images of the car from the television magazine, you only have an opinion about it. Is it a great car? That's only opinion. If you go to the dealership or someone happens to give you a ride in a Cadillac, then you have beliefs about the Cadillac. You get to drive it, you have beliefs about Cadillac. If you own the Cadillac for 100 years and never go beyond that, you can only have beliefs about the Cadillac. This is very important to understand. Belief comes from experiencing of the vehicle. This is his definition. A belief of an object comes from experiencing that object, all right? To understand the Cadillac, notice that Cadillac is a brand name without a specific model. To understand the Cadillac, Plato says you need to understand the blueprint. Now, who talks like that? In certain sense, you could lie, okay? You could say, not lie, but you could say discount this theory, okay? It's that important. but that is false. Who thinks like this in our world? Engineers, manufacturers. When the engineer talks about knowing a car, understanding the car, they talk about knowing the blueprint, how it's put together. They're not talking about just the experience in the car. Engineers think like that. So imagine Plato is an ancient engineer trying to see how the world was engineered. How did the universe engineer the mango tree? That's what he's looking for. And I can understand that engineering. I can say, I understand that particular tree. But to know it's a mango tree as opposed to a palm tree, I need to be able to differentiate them. So I first understand the engineering of the mango tree, then the engineering of the palm tree by studying them, this abstract reasoning. And then I can say, aha, I know that this is a mango tree because I understand what treeness is in general. That would be the most abstract form where you get the knowledge. So even understanding something deeply doesn't mean you can know it's the Cadillac, for example, unless you understand what a Mercedes is, what a BMW is. Then you can, no. Only people in our society talk like that a lot are engineers and also whom? Mechanics. Auto mechanics or develop that kind of information, that knowledge, right? So for Plato, you have knowledge of something, if and only if you've gone beyond the experience to this abstract truth, understand why something is the way it is in the world, from natural form, or it's manufactured somewhere you understand the blueprint, right? So knowledge of something occurs only when you understand the category from which something emerges. It's challenging, it may be problematic in many ways, but it does make sense if you think of it of an engineer trying to understand something. So see Plato for your understanding as the engineer. We're trying to understand not just how cars are made, but how is it that the universe makes mango trees? Today, it's the power of genetics, genes. The whole thing about genes, human genome, is an attempt to respond to Plato's and Socrates and Aristotle's view of the form. This is real. We change the vocabulary, but the problem continues.